If dreams could take shape, they might very well be colored red, have 4 wheels, 12 cylinders, and the name Ferrari stamped indelibly on them, as indelibly as it has been stamped on generations of racing enthusiasts.
Any drivers, his aim is to go one day in the Scuderia Ferrari.
With the establishment of the Formula One Grand Prix World Championship in 1950, it became possible for the first time to determine the best racing car in the world. Within its rigid limitations, the edge would be with superb driving and sophisticated engineering.
The excitement that used to greet an announcement that his cars were going to compete in England in the days when I was racing was really something you had to see to believe.
For nearly as long as people have raced cars, Ferrari has been a name with special resonance. It has been synonymous with perseverance, competition, and drama. Ferrari is more than a name and a car. Ferrari is a man. He was born in Modena, Italy in 1898, the same year the world land speed record was first established at just over 40 miles per hour. His father wanted him to be an engineer, but he had hopes of being an opera singer or a sports writer. Auto racing also lurked in the back of his mind. The reality of quitting school at the age of 13 and shoeing mules for the Italian army blew away his early dreams. After the armistice, he began frequenting the haunts enjoyed by the motor racing crowd and soon worked as a test driver, then as an actual race driver with CMN in 1919. If racing was not Ferrari's first vocation, it was his first success. He placed well in a number of races and drew the attention of the pole star of auto racing in the 1920s, Alfa Romeo. Ferrari joined Alfa at the start of the decade, and the relationship lasted in one form or another for nearly 20 years. Although his driving career prospered, Ferrari also felt an urge to take a more active role in the development and engineering of the vehicles he drove. It was then that Ferrari's great organizational genius was first noticed, the quality that was to become the bedrock of his success. It was a rare occasion when Ferrari took time out to relax, as he became more and more absorbed in his dream. In the 1920s, Enzo Ferrari won 12 races for Alfa, a figure that does not fully indicate his ability, because as technical problems commanded more of his time, he competed only sporadically. Ferrari took a step closer to his ultimate dream in 1929 by leaving Alfa Romeo and forming his own racing stable, or Scuderia. Although a separate entity, the Scuderia Ferrari was in effect an autonomous division of the Alfa company, racing its cars exclusively and feeding back key technological information to the manufacturer. As Alfa withdrew from racing, the Scuderia became the semi-official competition arm of the firm, acquiring its best engineers and drivers. The new team was the racing success of the 30s, dueling with ferocious competition from Bugatti and Maserati of Italy and Germany's Auto Union and Mercedes-Benz on equal terms. During that period, Ferrari developed many of the concepts of automotive design that are still bearing fruit today. Ferrari also assembled a stable of drivers that was the envy of the racing world. Giuseppe Campari, Guy Moll, Rudolf Caracciola, Nino Farina, Alberto Ascari, Achille Varzi, and the giant of them all, Tazio Nuvolari. Ferrari never considered himself a designer or inventor, but someone who got things moving and kept them running. The Scuderia was enormously successful. and Enzo Ferrari's ability to kindle competitive fire in his drivers made him paramount among team managers.
Well, you know, Mr. Ferrari is how could I say, he's a sort of a pope of the racing.
In the high-speed, highly charged atmosphere of auto racing, strains inevitably develop, and Ferrari and Alfa Romeo ended their association in 1939. I returned to Modena, he said, to prove that during my 20 years with Alfa, not all my reputation was second-hand and gained by the efforts and skills of others. The time had come to see just how far I could get on my own.
I had tremendous respect for him, because, as indeed I had for the team, but of course he was the team, and he was the old autocratic type of dictator, and that, I think, is a setup you need to be successful in motor racing. You cannot have a successful team run by a committee.
For over half a century, the prancing stallion has symbolized the fighting spirit that underlies the Ferrari legend.
Quindi un uomo di una personalità molto spiccata, un uomo di una vitalità, un uomo che è entrato nella mitologia, quindi un uomo che ha creato dal niente una grossa azienda.
Qual è stata la sua filosofia di disegno delle sue macchine?
Direi più che una fisonomia, io mi sono riportato alla prima impressione che ebbi nel 1919 di una vettura americana che aveva corso ad Indianapolis e che era la Packard 12 cilindri. Da quel momento ho sposato il motore a 12 cilindri e non ho più divorziato.
Immediately after the Second War, Ferrari reactivated the Scuderia, but this time to build and race his own cars bearing his name, with, of course, 12-cylinder motors. Along with engineers Gioacchino Colombo and Aurelio Lampredi, he created his dream engine. It was that engine that stunned Alfa and the rest of the racing world by recording the first ever 100-mile-an-hour lap at Silverstone while practicing for the 1951 British Grand Prix. The race was decided when the Alfas had to pit for fuel. Blasting through the pack, Pepe Gonzalez added the Grand Prix to the record, giving Ferrari his first victory. As Enzo Ferrari had helped create the Alfas beaten that day, he said, "I have killed my mother."